The meeting of the Board of Directors for HART will come to order. Today, we're starting off item number 2, public testimony on all agenda items. I see that I have a John Bond. John, are you here? Please state your name up to the microphone.
Good morning. Hello. My name is John Bond. I'm president of Honolulu Cultural Hui, a local organization out here in Ewa, West Oahu. We're also a consulting party to the HART Rail programmatic agreement, so we've been attending many of the meetings. We'll be attending the meeting coming up in April with Ted Matley also, who's coming out here. I just wanted to bring up, because it's limited time, so I scribbled my notes here without having to be able to do a nice bulletin thing, but I can give a report to Dan Grabaskus and to Bernard Marioka. I've done a synopsis of what's really going wrong with the rail project currently. Just to segue from the discussion you had about the PMOC, in the last one that came out, they listed major problems, I consider major problems, with geometry, misalignment of the guideways, and lack of concrete consolidation. What they don't tell you is that because of that, underground there's all kinds of karst caves, waterways, and underground water systems, because everything out here, including where we're sitting now, 25 square miles of Ewa West Oahu Plain, is a karst ancient reef, which means that the ocean used to be up here, it's gone down, and it's coming back up. So, meanwhile, the water runs under the ground. So we've watched the construction out at Waipahu, and we were always told, no, there's no water there, even though we see huge amounts of dewatering equipment there, and lots of people on cell phones with problems they had, and drill bits being cracked and broken and everything. That went on for a long time. But anyway, that was last fall. It's finally hitting the fan, I think, in the last PMOC meeting report. Number 2, which brings up the fact, ironically, that in the 2003 Parsons-Brinkerhoff final EIS, they stated clearly that there would be extreme disruption of underground utilities, high water table, which means groundwater, will drive rail construction costs to exceptionally high levels. So that was a warning back in 2003 of what you're going to encounter and are encountering and will encounter as you go along the entire Oahu South Shore, which is all ancient coral reef, everything. Airport, Pearl Harbor, downtown Makiki Plain, Waikiki Plain, everything. It's all karst there. Number 3, there was a really good Civil Beat article came out last fall. The American Society of Civil Engineers Hawaii chapter brought out William Wallace, a consultant from Colorado, and he told them about the problems they're going to have with sea level rise and mitigations, and how Puget Sound was dealing with putting up sea walls and floodgates and things like that, which won't work here because you can't put, no amount of concrete will stop the water from coming underneath through the karst. That's the way it works here in Hawaii on this island. So no walls are going to stop it. But what was amazing is when he asked the engineers, what are you guys doing about this out here? They were totally clueless. And they said, we have no plans. No one's ever discussed plans. As far as we know, the city has never discussed plans for sea level rise in any of their planning, especially for HART Rail, or for any mitigation to do with tsunami or hurricane storm surge. Now, ironically, out here, we have one of the best programs in the country with SOS program, Dr. Chip Fletcher.
Can we just kind of wrap it up?
So I'll continue to wrap it up here, which is basically that Interestingly, just Monday, the National Academy of Sciences, which is a highly respected government organization that every of the Fed agencies contribute to, issued a major report saying that sea level rise is going to be a major problem, and it's going to drive millions of people off their coastal properties. So that's the National Academy of Science. Everybody listens to them. It's not, you know, an Al Gore plot or something. It's for real. Okay, so organizations, especially Fed agencies, federally funded, shall avoid flood zones, sea level rise areas, and storm surge flooding areas. So they put everybody on notice here of what's going to happen,
Okay.
and the Fed agencies and everything. And this leads me, I'm getting to the chase here. Feds under FEMA have released flood maps, actually in 2015, that clearly show where you're putting in these rail stations and planned TODs and everything are in flood zones. And according to all the documentation I've read, and DOTs and all the CFRs and everything, you're not supposed to be doing this and spending federal money in that area. So I'm going to just wrap up and say, you're all on notice by everybody, federally and otherwise, that you're putting this into the wrong area. And this is not to stop rail, it's to put rail into the right area where it should be. You'll, by the way, find that H1 freeway is entirely out of every possible flood zone, tsunami inundation, or sea level rise of any kind. So somebody must have been thinking back in those days about something, why they did it that way. And it's clear that the rail guideway, TODs, stations are in the wrong place. It's going to be a disaster. It's going to cost the public billions of dollars to have to rebuild this after the disaster, which will be either sea level rise, storm surge, or tsunami.
Okay,
So-
thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Is there any members, any questions?
Yeah, any questions about that?
If not, thank you. Appreciate it.
And I'll send a report to Dan and to Brendan over here as well, so you'll have a record of that. Thank you.